A very good evening. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. It's always a delight when I come your way with the latest happenings throughout the country. Tonight is no exception. We bring you all the updates that you are looking for tonight. And just before I do so, let's look at some of the top stories that I have for you tonight. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, fate of IGP Christian Tete GHOne in limbo as the police council recommendations for 2-year contract extension for him meets government stance against a post-retirement contract. Should the president reconsider? We go live with an analyst for Insight tonight. Also coming up, President John Dramani Mahama defers appointment of substantive minister for defense until next year. We'll hear from the president tonight.
And we'll bring appointments next year after the holiday, the Christmas and the New Year. We'll fill those positions.
And then we'll bring you some more updates as Education Minister Haruna Idrisu vows no one will be allowed to deny any Ghanaian the opportunity to practice her faith in school as debate deepens over Wesley girls' religious rights.
Right is divisible, and that we will not countenance any action by any person to deny any Ghanaian girl the opportunity to profess or practice any religion.
Well, later in the bulletin tonight, 35 million at risk as Nigeria nears worst hunger crisis on record. My name is Kweku. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. Rather on a sad note, we take our very first story for tonight. We would appeal for viewer discretion because of the images that we are sharing. Viewer discretion is strongly advised due to the sensitive nature of the images and videos. Well, body parts believed to be those of Samuel Yeboah, a 45-year-old civilian worker with the Ghana Armed Forces, have been found in a bush at Sokode, Joaso in the Ebuakwa North Municipality 10 days after he went missing. Well, Yeboah was last seen on November 15 after attempting to retrieve a mobile phone for a young woman. Well, the confrontation at the suspect's home reportedly turned violent when the suspect's father described as a hunter, allegedly shot and butchered him. Police say the two then dismembered the body and buried the parts at different locations. Well, the father has been arrested, but the son is still on the run. Investigations from the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service have visited the scene as efforts continue to arrest the fugitive. As and when we have more on this story, we will be sharing with you. And anyone with information of the said young one who perpetrated the act should immediately report to the Ghana Police Service for the law to take its full course. We move on to other stories, and here President John Dramani Mahama has approved a 2-year contract extension following recommendations by the Police Council. President John Dramani Mahama has granted a 2-year contract extension to the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete GHOne, ahead of his mandatory retirement in December 2025. Well, according to sources, the extension enables the IGP Tete GHOne to continue leading the Ghana Police Service until December 2027. The renewal is expected to provide continuity for ongoing police reforms, modernization initiatives, and critical national security operations under his leadership. Well, the IGP CT GHOne replaced Dr. George Ekufu Dampare after his appointment by President Mahama on March 13, 2025, in consultation with the Council of State, and was sworn into office the following day. Well, here are excerpts of a letter cited by GHOne from the presidency.
You have to drive alone.
All right, so I want to stay on this issue some more as we look into the IGP's appointment. Now, security analyst Emmanuel Kutin has joined me via Zoom right now. He's all set to speak to the issues. Well, Emma, thank you very much for your time tonight. Let me find out from you. So, did you foresee this extension coming, and should the recommendations be considered by the president despite the stance against the post? What I want to find out from you.
Well, this is quite fascinating. Well, thank you for having me, and very good evening to your cherished listeners. In fact, this is quite fascinating because the recommendation came to some of us notice in October. So I must place on record that this has been on the president's table since October this year. So I also say it's fascinating because
Emma Kutin, if you can hear me, well, we cannot hear you. Kindly ensure that you unmute yourself so we can hear you on this side, Emma. Unfortunately, I lost you a little bit there. Kindly unmute.
Can you hear?
Absolutely, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, so go ahead, make your point.
So what I was trying to put across is that some of us are quite surprised government is giving this extension against its own policies. You remember in the beginning of this year, Honorable Ofosu Kwakye came out with a press statement, which was debated across the country that they were no longer going to give this kind of extensions. So a lot of us were happy that at least we are moving towards a security sector reform that we can give.
Emmanuel,
to give it that independence and remove the political nuances. Now we ask ourselves, it's not about GHOne staying or going. When he became an IGP, what transformational agenda? Some of us are just asking for one. Don't forget how we demonized the former IGP over similar circumstances. So to some of us, integrity matters. It's not about relations or personal stuff. No. We want to know what informed government decision to extend GHOne's tenure of office by another 2 years. Was it based on professional recommendation? Was it by political patronage? I think the good people of this country need to know. Otherwise, we can't take the government serious when it comes out to announce its policies.
Well, Yema Kutin, I could share a few with you. I touched on it early on. They've talked about modernization initiatives, critical national security operations under his leadership, and a few others reasons why they had to extend his term, because all these are under him.
What did we accuse Dampare of? We accused Dampare of not releasing crime statistics. Under GHOne's watch, have we ever seen any crime statistics? We accused Dampare of disbanding the cybersecurity department. Have we seen it happening? We accused Dampare of favorable promotion over seniors. Under GHOne, that is happening. We accused Dampare that he was transforming professional police personnel into mainstream police personnel who don't have any form of regimental training for such roles. Under GHOne, we are seeing same, and those promotions are happening. You see, as a country, if we begin to do things this way, everything will be viewed in political lenses. You and I know, and the citizens will agree with me, that when GHOne came, nothing fundamental has happened. If there were some tangible things happening that he needed time to finish those things, that would have been perfect. Look at the myriad of chieftaincy conflicts we have in this country. Look at what happened in Boku when he even visited there. Look at the rate of armed robbery in the country. Look at the Galamsey menace when he formed his own task force to tackle the menace. Why was that task force disbanded? So you see, the government is doing very well, but it must walk its word. Otherwise, Ghanaians will begin to lose faith in what they come to tell us. We don't need to get this twisted. It's not about GHOne. It's about the office of the Inspector General of Police, and why everybody should be concerned that we need very credible security sector reforms to make that institution very independent. So to some of us, even though the president have already signed the letter, we will say it's political patronage and no hinge on any professional advice. And I say this on authority because it took a longer period for the president to be able to make this decision. Because as far as back as October, this recommendation from the Police Council was made to the president. And moving forward, my brother, even the composition of the Police Council, we have to look at it. It is too politically tainted. And more often than not, their decisions are can be predicted or premeditated. And we feel that it's not good for our democracy. It's not about GHOne. And moving forward, the cane that we use for Dampare, we must not use a different cane for GHOne. And I think the government got this one very wrong. It's going to reduce morale within the service. Because don't forget, within these 2 years, somebody who had aspired to that position may lose out. What does it bring? The person will not be motivated to work. And I think that and we must also move beyond personalities. The institution of the police goes beyond GHOne. So we should not try to say that without GHOne, the police cannot function as an institution. Like Dan Paris said before a parliamentary select committee that his biggest regret is to leave as an IGP, as if there's nobody to fill that shoes. When he left, GHOne came. So when GHOne leaves, someone will come.
All right.
So this political patronage within our security sector, we have to watch it very critically.
Ima, thank you. Thank you. I'll rest on this matter on the IGP for a while, but I want to pick your thoughts on something the president said. So President John Dramani Mahama says he is not rushing to appoint a new defense minister and minister for environment, science and technology following the death of Dr. Edward Omane Boama and Dr. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed in the August 3rd helicopter crash. He was speaking during the courtesy visits by the Ghana Muslim Mission at the Jubilee House. The president assured that the vacancies will be filled after Christmas. Emmanuel, just hold on. After taking the soundbite, I'll come to you for you to respond to it. Around this period, so maybe after Christmas. What do you think about what the president said?
Well, I think if you look at this current government, their appetite for lean government is so assuring. I think that we should give the president the benefit of the doubt. There are two things. We must make a distinction between policy issues and administrative issues. And under the Ministry of Defense, for instance, the president is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. We have a deputy, is that not it? We have the finance minister acting. The CDS and other agencies under the ministry have operational heads. And I don't think that we should force the president to do any nomination now. I think it's not affecting government in any way. But the Ministry of Environment, I don't know. But I know with our fight against Galamsey, there are sister agencies under the ministry that are performing so well. But I want to place on record that the overriding principle of the delay is two things. The death of these gallant Ghanaians who died in the helicopter crash was a personal blow to the president, one. And secondly, the president is looking for a quick reshuffle in the new year. And if he has his way, I see him merging some ministries and running a lean government. And I say this multiple times. Look at the United Kingdom. Look at the size of the United Kingdom. They have only 28 ministers. Even the sister ministers the president is using to some of us is still relatively high vis-a-vis our taxpayers' purse. So I think the president got this one right, and we must not stampede him into this kind of appointments. For nothing at all, I foresee a lean government in the reshuffle process next year.
Emmanuel Kutin, thank you very much for your time joining us on Zoom to speak to some security matters in the country. After this break, we're back with some more local stories to stay with us. We'll be back shortly. The program is News Tonight, and my name is Kweku Temeng. Well, it's now time for Insight, and Insight we are focusing on Wesley Girls this evening with Islamic issues that have cropped up. Let me take details of the story. And here, the Supreme Court has ordered Wesley Girls Senior High School to respond within 14 days to claims that the school is preventing Muslim students from practicing their faith. Well, the directive follows a suit filed by private legal practitioner Shafiq Osman, who argues that the rights of Muslim students are being breached and has asked the court to intervene. In the suit, he lists the Board of Governors of Wesley Girls Senior High School, the Ghana Education Service, and the Attorney General as the first, second, and third defendants. Well, the court has also granted a request by Democracy Hub to join the matter. Now, with their contributions to take effect only after all parties have filed their statement of case and the memorandum of issues is settled. Well, before adjourning the case without a fixed date, the bench cautioned all parties to refrain from comments on social media that could prejudice the matter before the courts. So some updates coming through from the courts in there, and tonight we would want to keep our focus right on it. You could equally make your voice heard by joining us on our social media platforms as we peruse this matter further. Would it be right to allow the Muslim community practice the faith around Wesley Girls Campus? Well, we would shortly want to get into the matter right. We would want to get into the matter right now. Let's just quickly
our statement of case. And until those allegations are disputed, it be deemed as been admitted. So we were only trying to help the court in adducing further evidence to establish the allegations against young students who we believe have the right to practice and manifest their religion. So if the court thinks that it is not necessary for now, and we should wait to hear from the first defendant, it's in order. So depending on what is contained in their response, then we'll proceed.
Well, our court correspondent is joining us right on Zoom. He has all the updates and he would want to break it down for you at home. Really, if you have some contentions, if you do not understand anything, now is the time to get a clearer understanding into the matter. Mutala Enusa is our legal affairs correspondent. He joins me right now via Zoom to discuss the issue. Mutala, thank you for your time tonight. Briefly, help us with the background to this case that currently is before the courts.
Well, Kweku, sometime in December 2024, Osman Shafiq, who is a private legal practitioner, initiated this action at the Supreme Court. And he's listed a number of issues that he's contending with, declarations and orders that he wants the Supreme Court to make in relation to certain concerning issues that, in his view, the Supreme Court ought to make a pronouncement on it. The Supreme Court will have to interpret provisions within the 1992 constitutions and other laws that talk about human rights violation. And his issue has to do with the fact that the Muslim brothers within the Wesley Girls Senior High School, or sisters within the Wesley Girls Senior High School, are not allowed to worship, are not allowed to practice their faith. And for that matter, that clearly violate provisions in the 1992 Constitution. And the Supreme Court is the institution or the ultimate court of the land that have to interpret situations like that. So he filed that particular action. Then the current administration took over in 2025. Then the Attorney General has filed an affidavit, a statement of case on behalf of the Attorney General, in fact, on behalf of the Ghana Education Service, listed as the second respondent, and the Attorney General as the third respondent. All that they are saying is to back the Wesley Girls Senior High School by way of saying that, look, the school as an institution, it's a church that practices faith. The Constitution cannot be seen to be stopping them practicing their faith. Today, they prayed the court, seeking leave of the court to be able to file or substitute that particular statement of case on behalf of the two defendants. The court, by the parties, the plaintiff on the other side, represented by Abdulaziz Gomda, the lawyer, did not oppose to the request made by the Attorney General to have their statement of case adopted by the court. In fact, the presiding judge, Justice Gabriel Palmer, at the point indicated that, look, instead of coming with a fresh statement of the case, the laws allow you to amend what is there already. But in the view of the Attorney General, coming out with a new statement of case on behalf of the defendants, in their view, is what works. Once the other party, the plaintiff, did not oppose to that, the court went ahead to adopt and said that, look, your leave for that particular statement of case is granted. However, you have to do that. What is before the court is an unsigned one. You have to sign whatever it is, and then within 7 days, that have to be made served, and the plaintiff served with the processes. Now, the court also makes the point that because with the latest statement of case filed by the Attorney General, there are certain issues that have been raised which are interesting that the plaintiff would need to, if the need be, if he so wishes to respond to that or reply to that, he also has that liberty to do that. And then the court, after ending that, has to adjourn the case sine die. But then the court said, look, if you look at the issues at hand, especially so also because Wesley Girls, the governors of Wesley Girls are the first respondent or defendant in the matter. They were not present in court. Their lawyers were also not present in court. It is only fair that the court hear from them. So the issues, the allegations raised by the plaintiff in the statement of case, the Wesley Girls School would have to respond to that, especially when it has to do with allegations of fact. Are Muslim sisters allowed to pray? Are they allowed to wear their hijab and all of that? The court thinks that these are allegations of fact that the school would have to respond to that. So within 14 days, upon receipt of whatever the processes may be, the Wesley Girls School, the governors, will have to respond to that within 14 days for the court to be able to have a fair view, a fair understanding of balancing what the plaintiff has filed and what the school also pertains, what really pertains within Wesley Girls School. So consequently, that case has been adjourned sine die, and once the parties have filed all their processes, the court will then fix, the registry will then fix a date. But Kweku, that did not end this matter at the Supreme Court, because earlier we saw that Democracy Hub has also filed a motion seeking to join as a friend to the court, as an amicus curiae to the court. All that they are seeking was to assist the court in this matter with certain information that they think will be relevant to the determination of this case. Deputy Attorney General, who represented the second and third respondent, did not oppose to that, except to draw the court attention to the fact that for somebody to join at a point like this as an amicus curiae or as a friend to the court, there are certain things that they will not be part initially until those processes are dealt with before they can join. So the court should make the order to reflect same. And the court subsequently, after joining Democracy Hub to the case, made a caveat and said that, look, at this particular point in time, Democracy Hub, you cannot contribute anything at these early stages. Wait for the parties to file their memorandum of issue that will be adopted by the court. Do it for them to file their processes and all of that. And after filing all those processes and everything is said, that is when Democracy Hub can come in, and whatever support that they have to give to the court, they can give to support this case. So that's how the matter ended at the Supreme Court.
Murtala Enusa is our court correspondent. He joined us with all the updates, and as and when the case comes up in court again, we'll have Murtala Enusa bring us up to speed on the latest. But we'll go to Parliament shortly, where the Minister of Education spoke on the matter.
Mr. Speaker, let me also use this opportunity in debating the budget, since I speak as the present Minister for Education, that there is some ongoing debate on restrictions on Muslim students in Wesley Girls, which conflicts with international human rights standards and even standard expected of us in Ghana's Constitution under Article 33(5) and 26(1) of the Constitution. And then to assure our colleagues that we have a duty to uphold the rights of every Ghanaian child and to uphold the rights of every Ghanaian citizen. No right is divisible, and that we will not countenance any action by any person to deny any Ghanaian girl the opportunity to profess or practice any religion. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude.
All right, so we want to stay on the subject some more. It is time for us to speak to Anan Adams Mohammed, who is the Executive Director of MUYAP Service. Anan, thank you very much for your time. Delight having you join us tonight. So, yes, we would want to find out from you. You have petitioned the Attorney General to reconsider his position to this matter. Why so?
All right, thank you very much, my brother. The name is Adnan Adams Mohammed, as you used to know, and representing MUYAP Social Service as Executive Director. We actually are for the interests of the people, human rights, advocates who always, all the time, try to ensure that whatever is in interest of the citizen, of a human being, is what we advocate for, or we speak on their behalf. Now, in this case, that is pertaining. This issue has been in the public domain discussion for a long time. I quite remember in 2014, my organization petitioned SRAJ, and it's a record there as SRAJ, petitioned SRAJ against Wesley girls on the same matter of religious discrimination. The issue later, SRAJ head office has to, relegate the case to the regional office of SRAJ, of which we were all aware of the, let me say, the politics around it. Fine, we did not, raise any alarm, any false alarm against it. Most of the times when some of these issues arise, some of us in the social, space, and then in the advocacy, sphere, we try to water down the tension that arises. Some of these things that we do is try to water down the tension and then use diplomacy in terms of addressing some of these issues. Clearly, when you look at the matter...
Adnan, this issue has heightened, and there's a big question of, so can Christians demand same in Islamic schools? If so, can Ekankar, the Hare Krishna, also come in and say, look, this should be done for us? That is the main concern. You're a Muslim, and you should, once you want to water down the issue, you can look at things from this perspective. There are several traditional beliefs. There are several beliefs in various institutions, but if all of them are coming up with their needs, then really, would we not have a situation in all these schools specifically? Would there not be chaos?
All right. So thank you, my brother. As you know me already, a very low, a good friend of the law. Now, the issue is, Wesley Girls is not the only mission school in the country. We have Presbyterian schools, we have Roman Catholic schools, we have SDA schools, we have Islamic schools, we have Ahmadiyya schools. Even Methodist, the Methodist schools, it is not only Wesley Girls that falls under Methodist. We have other schools that falls under Methodist. Why is the matter only about Wesley Girls? Now, when we go to Holy Child, St. Rose's, they used to have some of these issues, but has been dealt with amicably. There is nowhere that we have seen any chaotic situation at Holy Child in terms of religious freedom or whatever, or religious practice. No. When you go to Infantiman Girls, there have never been any kind of police and chaotic situation there. When you go to St. Rose's Akotia, that's where I come from. There was a situation far back in 2012. We petitioned the headmistress at that time. She responded in a nice way. We agreed to certain terms. We allowed things to sleep. As Muslims, there's nothing much we are demanding for. And for instance, when you are mentioning of other religious beliefs, we are in a country where we all subscribe to the Constitution. Now, the educational institutions that we have, they are also hold, are under the regulation of the GES. Now, GES is the second defendant in the case as we have now. Now, GES, just September, this year, September 5th to September 2025, ensure that 13 mission schools, the 13 mission schools, or 13, let me put it this way, missions that are managing our schools in the country. All the Christian schools, all the Muslim schools, the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ghana Police Service, whoever has a stake, like a decision-making educational institution, signed a memorandum of understanding. And it was supervised or validated by National Peace Council, endorsed by the Director General of GES, Ghana Education Service, ensuring that what? There will be tolerance.
Adnan.
There will be religious tolerance in these schools. Adnan, so now, are we saying that the Wesley Girls is beyond or is above the laws of the country?
Adnan, this matter will stay on for some time. You have another colleague on the line, so I have given you some time, and I know within the coming days we'll be engaging you some more, but allow me just engage the person very shortly. But Adnan, sincerely, I'm grateful to you for spending time with us, one of the good media friends who have moved into advocacy in the Adnan Mohammed. But we'll look now and bring through Abdul Hamid Issa. He's the Executive Director, Zongo Institute for Development. Well, thank you very much for your time. Let me find out from you your stance on this. So, yes, Wesley Girls is a mission school. The concern here is there are several schools. They have a way, methodological way that they run their school. So, of course, if you cannot fall within, their argument probably is that you might want to look at, another institution that compromises a little bit. How would you react to this school of thought that others are sharing?
As you said, we have a lot of mission schools across the country. We have a lot of mission schools across the country. Just that this, as my brother Nan said, you realize it is only this Wesley Girls in particular that we have a problem with when it comes to the issues they are bringing up now. So I would like to understand, why would that be a problem when the Constitution, Article 21, Subclause 1, Paragraph C, states categorically that every citizen has the right to manifest and practice his or her religion? Why will a school like Wesley Girls choose the other path? Remember, this Wesley Girls School is part of government schools now. They are no longer, solely mission schools. They've gone past that stage. Therefore, we expect them to also act like the other normal public schools. As my brother said, we have Presbyterian schools, we have other schools, we have Catholic schools. I attended the Catholic schools. St. Thomas Aquinas was a school I attended. Okay, we went to St. Thomas Aquinas. We were not forced to go through those processes. Apparently, the assembly hall, the very big hall we use, is the parish hall, which is what we use for our morning assembly. So we all gather there, and we go through the process. They give us announcements, and we go back to our classrooms. During break time, we get a place to go and pray. Interestingly, as a GIMSA president, when I was in school, I was a GIMSA president. We've organized GIMSA programs in the parish hall. We were given the parish hall to organize GIMSA programs. This is a mission school, but they tolerated us. They gave us that chance. It was a boys' school. We had that opportunity to have programs in the parish hall. And this has never been a problem. So why will now Wesley Girls prevent students from fasting? How does the fasting affect their academic work? How does covering their hijab after classes affect their academic work? How does they performing their 5 daily prayers affect their academic work? It doesn't affect anything in the school. So for the stance the headmistress or the institutions the heads there took, is a violation of their human rights.
You've equally taken a stance that, look, government, withdraw some of the support that they are being given. Did you say that, and why this entrenched stand that withdraw all the benefits that they get?
No, if they are also entrenched on their position, that they don't recognize themselves as a public school. If Wesley Girls says they are not a public school, they are a mission school, then government has no business giving them financial support and running the institution. That is the stand. But if they still remain a public institution, that is what they are now until they change their status quo. But for now, we know them as a public school. So being a public school, we expect them to conform to most of the public schools. They are under GES. They are not beyond GES. And we've not had, out of this country, we have a lot of secondary schools. Why is it that they are now taking this entrenched position on our Muslim ladies? That is unfair. So this is why we think it is absolutely an affront to the religion. And as Muslims, we are peace-loving. That is why we want to address the issue and make sure that our rights are respected. Muslims, if a Muslim student goes to school and misbehaves as an individual, that child will be punished as an individual, any other person, regardless of his religion. Recently, students were allowed to keep dreadlocks in school. In Achimota, that was allowed. And a whole religious obligation on our national programs, we do Islamic programs, we do Islamic prayer, we do the Christian prayer, we do the traditional prayer. Every national issue or national program that the country is organizing, yes.
We will stay on the matters some more, but for now, I'd want to appreciate you because you've really made the points clear and you've talked about how indeed if the Wesley Girls would want to maintain their stance that they are not a government school, then all the subventions and benefits that they get from the government should also be withdrawn. We're grateful for your time. Let me engage somebody from the education sector. Charles Aheto Chega is a former Director General GES. He joins us now. Let me pick your thoughts now, Mr. Aheto Chega, on the way forward now. I mean, it's not the first time we're seeing this, but I know this has one way or the other cropped up before, and you can advise on the way forward, Mr. Chega.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are looking for the way forward. We need to get all parties to be a bit sober and try to look at their arguments. In fact, when I took a few notes on the submissions made by Mr. Hanan. Okay, Mr. Hanan, and I thought that it was very, very inconsiderate, and there are a lot of questions within those ones, and it's important for them to take their time so that the matter can be discussed in context. So that is the first way forward. And I think that something has been missing in the whole discussion. I don't know where the lack of tolerance and the position taking really emerged. But I think that the matter would have to be looked at again, and the negotiation would have to be discussed in a very, very dispassionate manner, so that the parties understand where each of them is coming from, so that we look at them and make a final decision on it. So I think that is where the solution will come. This court issue is interesting. It's trying to stretch certain rights that we'll see what the court would say at the end of the day. So for the meantime, we'll leave it for the court to take their decision and then eventually maybe rule on what or determine what the future would be in this respect.
All right, Mr. Chega, thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, time is fast spent, but definitely on our subsequent bulletins, we want to engage you so that you point or bring out those pointers that you think really individuals or people who matter in this issue should take time on. Well, that's about it for Insight for tonight. We're not done with deliberation on the discussion. It will definitely crop up again. But for now, that's Insight. In other stories tonight, President John Dramani Mahama has commissioned a Carton 360 smart classroom block at Ghana Senior High School, that's Ghana School, enhancing digital learning for students. Well, the project is part of the government's efforts to modernize education using interactive technology to prepare students for the demands of the 21st century. Our Ashanti Regional Correspondent Isaac Justice Bediako has more in the following report.
By integrating smart boards, tablets, visual learning system, and solar-powered infrastructure into classrooms, the policy aimed to close digital gap and position students for future academic and professional opportunities. Speaking to the media shortly before commissioning, Lawrence Honevo, head of projects for West Africa at Canton 360, described the project as a school for the future, a major step in transforming digital education nationwide.
It's exciting to see students during break and they are relaxing, they are having discussions on their tablets and engaging their peers. It's exciting. It's a novel project. Ghana School is the second to receive this infrastructure, which is the Canton Smart School or Smart Block. Opokwai was the first, but in the northern part of the country, Ghana School or Ghana Senior High is the first school in the northern part of the country to benefit from this infrastructure.
Teachers at Ghana School are already witnessing the impact. Erica Day, a physics teacher, described the smart board as one of the best teaching experience of his career.
In Ghana Senior High, I think today you met us using the smart board in our teaching. It's one of the best as a teacher and the experiences I've gone through. The smart board actually summarizes your work. Your materials and everything has been uploaded. You share it with your students. So before you even get to the class, they have acquainted themselves with the things you are coming to teach. If they have questions, they develop the questions. So that when you come and there are challenges, they are able to share with you. They ask their questions, you are able to explain it to them. You don't need to come with the usual notes thing. Let's write the notes before we explain and all that. Everything is with them. Even if you are not in class, you can upload materials for them to learn in your absence. So the smart board is something, should I say super? Maybe with time. I think if we have more in the school, it will help every teacher.
For students, the shift from traditional method to interactive learning has been equally transformative. Ismaila Abdul Fattah, science student, said the new digital approach has improved her learning experience.
At first, when I got to this school, I thought that teaching and learning would be as the same it was in JHS. But no, we were introduced to a new way of learning, that is using the Canton 360 app, which has enhanced our learning a lot in various ways. At first, we have to go and be looking for the facilitator around campus so that he can come to class and teach us. But now, with the help of the virtual learning through the tablet that has been provided, we can easily get access to the facilitator virtually through the internet provided by the school. So with this, we are thanking the president and the government for what they've done for us, because learning this way has been much easier and more enjoyable as compared to the traditional way of learning.
With the government renewed focus on digital transformation in education, the initiative is expected to expand to more schools nationwide, providing thousands of students with modern, technology-enhanced learning environment. Reporting for GHOne News, Isaac Justice Bediako, Tamale.
After this break, we'll be back with more. Do stay. Promoted financial literacy among secondary school students over the past 11 years, while as the 2025 quiz reaches the semi-finals, participating schools are gearing up to book their spot in the finals. There's more in the following report.
After a thrilling contest at the Amegashi Auditorium at the University of Ghana Business School, 4 schools out of the initial 50 made it to the grand finale. Executive Director, Strategy and Operations at the Young Investors Network, Joshua Mensah, described this as an omen of raising financial giants in Africa, considering the top financial institutions that have employed past contestants since its inception 11 years ago.
There are a lot of professional financial literacy in Ghana because most of them don't understand the basic rubrics of financial literacy, and this is what the National Investment Quiz Competition seeks to address, and that's our main objective, is to promote financial literacy education in Ghana and Africa as a whole. So we really commend the Ghana Stock Exchange and Central Security Depository for their enormous support for this particular empowerment program.
The quiz master of the National Investment Quiz, GHOne Nukunu, called on parents and the general public to take a keen interest in the quiz as it broadens one's financial scope in order to make prudent financial decisions in a volatile financial market.
The contest has actually made a lot of schools focus on the financial literacy aspect of their curriculum. So yes, I believe in the next few years we should be seeing SHS students that are very financially literate. We ask that a lot of people patronize what we sell in here, and then the parents and all other stakeholders should be interested in what is coming up because it's going to be big in the next few.
Some schools who booked their spot for the grand finale shared their experiences with the news team.
Well, it's been quite competitive from the start, but by the grace of God, we need to make it to the finals. Every day we go with the same strategy.
Well, that's all for business. Time now to bring you sports.
Well, in sports, tonight the games are on in the UEFA Champions League. As you can see on your screens now, are just about ended. Ajax are trailing 1-0 against Benfica now. Ghana also down 1-0 against Union Saint-Gilloise. But at 8 p.m. tonight, Borussia Dortmund take on Villarreal. Thomas Partey will be in action for Villarreal. Bodo Glimt in action against Juventus is on tonight. We have Chelsea against Barcelona, the biggest game on tonight in the Champions League. While City welcome Bayer Leverkusen. Olympique Marseille take on Newcastle. Napoli in action against Karabakh FK. And then Slavia Praha against Bilbao or Athletic Club are the fixtures on tonight in the UEFA Champions League. And because of our time, let's end it with sports for us on News Tonight. That should be it for us, actually, in sports for News Tonight. But don't forget, the games are on. The biggest game tonight being Barca's game against Chelsea in the Champions League. Over to you, Kweku, for the rest of the bulletin.
All right, Benghazi, that's about it for tonight. We're grateful for your time. That's the way we'll draw the curtains for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. My name is Kweku Temeng.